Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Tabletop Tavern. Hope you're all doing well. I've still been having a ton of fun with this game, so we're going to jump in for another run here. And today we're going to be playing the Sakura Dynasty, because I wanted to try out the second character, who is an economy character getting extra money from interest. And if you know anything about me, you know I love economy characters. The Sakura Dynasty's bonuses are that if your army has only Sakura Dynasty units, you get extra leadership and melee attack. This is a pretty significant buff, but for good enough units, I might break it. And if the battle goes long, your units will gain extra melee attack every 10 seconds, which is extremely powerful in fights that go for a long time. We have Oni as our unique unit for this character, and we get extra money from interest, and the Arquebus unit is buffed, which of course is one of the best units in the game, so it's even better for this character. We're also on Emperor difficulty, which is pretty appropriate. I have unlocked in the medic progression the ability to start with a piece of gear, and I think I'm going to start with the longbow. We have a cannon to start with, and we're going to get a lot of ranged units, so I think the longbow's giving us extra range. I don't actually know if this works on the cannon, if this counts as ranged or if artillery are different. But we're gonna pick this up because I think we're gonna end up with a pretty heavy range setup pretty quickly. That's how I have tended to play this game, and this faction, I think, in particular, supports it. Alright, so it does not, the longbow doesn't work on the artillery. Alright, we have uncommon units gain 8 armor, shielded units gain 5 melee defense, or first consumable of each shop is free. Let's go with shielded units gain 5 melee defense. Currently, we don't have any shielded units, so this is also not too significant at the moment, but we will likely have shielded units soon. I definitely want to go to one of these villages and attack it, and I don't really want to go to this shop. So I'm going to, I guess, go up the right-hand side here, because if I go up the left, we end up at this games event, which is, I think, a really bad tile in general. Now, we're kind of stuck going to one of these shops, no matter what I do. This is honestly a pretty bad map, but let's go to the right here, and we'll take our first fight. Up against some goblins should be pretty good for us, so we'll go ahead and set up to fight this battle here. Have to deploy second. Let's go ahead and we'll just set up like so and start this battle right away. I immediately want to be taking shots at the enemies here. In particular, their archers. This is actually kind of a rough setup now that I'm looking at it, because we have a spearman unit and a swordsman unit, neither of which are shielded, so the goblin scrap shooters are going to do pretty good damage. And our units are just going to have to directly trade with the enemy units here. What I'm going to do is send my Ronin Wanderers in to attack this Goblin Rabble unit, and my Spearmen, we're just going to have brace here. They are absorbing some shots from the scrap shooters, but that should be okay. Basically, I want this unit to attack the Goblin Rabble, and then we're going to back these guys out as they're taking a little bit more damage before I lose models here, and we'll have them scooch over to the side to minimize the amount of time that they're in melee contact. No matter what we do, we're definitely going to be losing some models on our spearmen here. But again, we're going to keep pulling them sideways, and then we'll have our Ronin Wanderers run back in. And because we've taken out all the scrap shooters, we can also take a shot here. It likely won't hit my other units. And actually, it looks like I might have been able to send these guys around to attack the scrap shooters, and we'll tank on the Wanderers. It looks like we might have arranged it such that we're going to lose no models. I'm going to stop taking shots at the cannon before it friendly fires all my units down, but actually a perfect opening fight there, which is kind of fun. Not really necessary to get the perfect opening fight. You can lose a model or two, but, always more fun when you get to do that. Let's go ahead and claim rewards, and we'll take a bounty and recruit a unit here. And I definitely want the ranged unit. We're going to take the commoners, the Daikyu commoners here, because it goes with our longbows. Neither of these are shielded as well, so they don't get the benefit of our bucklers. And then, of course, we don't want to pick up a goblin scrap shooter or rabble. Those are bad units, and it would break our only Sakura Dynasty units buff and prevent us from getting interest as quickly. So, obviously, we're taking the money here. All right, this is another games event, so of course we are skipping past it, and then we're going to go to the Raven Host village and attack it. Now, I would have liked to go to the Sakura Dynasty village and attack that, because we could conscript survivors from that village and get an extra unit, whereas we won't get an extra unit here. I'm also going to fight the garrison. We have an artillery piece. We could auto-resolve this battle, but when you have an artillery piece, fighting the cities is basically free, because your artillery piece is going to allow you to break the gates from out of range of the gate, and then we'll be able to kill the enemy units here. And so we're just gonna sit everyone kind of back here, and the enemies will filter towards me one at a time. I'm also gonna go ahead and put this on faster speed, because we're just gonna be waiting for this gate to go down for the moment. Thump. And then as soon as it breaks, all of these enemies are going to filter around the side, and we can kind of cheese the AI, which is a nice thing about starting with a cannon unit, is that you get to do that basically for free. And then we'll set the speed scale back to normal. We also wildly outrange these driftwood skirmishers with my ranged units, and of course with my cannon as well. And I want to rush in before they have too much time to get shots off. Our spearmen are going to take a little bit of damage, and then I'm going to swap my cannon onto those other enemies. Then we'll get these guys in melee. I'm going to back the spearmen off so that they're not taking so that the enemy archers focus on the Ronin here. And again, I just want to trade off damage. Actually taking a little more damage on these guys than I was expecting. The Driftwood Skirmishers hit really hard. They have 10 missile strength, so they will actually do quite a bit of damage to you. And then we'll back our infantry off. And we'll wait for the enemies to get in range. We'll speed up combat a little bit here. Then I want to get my Daikyu commoners to where they're going to be flanking the Thrall Levy, but of course we don't want to put them in range of... because these guys are shielded, so we don't want to shoot them from the front with a ranged unit. But I don't want to put them in range of the gate, because then we'll start taking shots. And again, we'll just maneuver around the outside. Then we can saturate our units into melee here. Stop shooting with the cannon so that we don't take friendly fire. And we got a perfect fight against the town. Once again, you know, it's not at all necessary to get these perfect fights, but... as a real commander, of course, you would be trying to conserve the lives of your soldiers. Conscripted survivors post-battle are granted full health. This is basically useless to us, since we're rarely going to conscript survivors. It would break our bonus. Let's check what we can get here. Yeah, we're just going to skip here. I'd rather have leadership and melee attack on all my units. Then we're going to skip this. Again, another dead tile for us. We've gotten so unlucky with the tiles in this run so far. So, unfortunately, although I would like some interest, I probably have to buy a unit pack here, because with the fact that we've gotten so few battles and haven't been able to get extra units is really holding us back. So I think we are going to spend on 2 common unit packs, and then I'll have to rebuild my my stockpile, but I just need some troops.
Safe travels, my friend.
Because these next fights will otherwise be extremely difficult, I think. Okay, well, this one wouldn't have been. I could easily have won with very few troops. I'm surprised that it's so weak. I don't actually know how the battle scaling works. I think it might scale based on the number of battles you've taken and not on what, like, floor you're on chapter is what this game calls it. This one I'm just going to auto-resolve. Yes, we're going to take a few casualties, but fighting another group of little goblins just doesn't seem that exciting. And then we get to add another unit here, and I will add a third Ronin Wanderer unit, because then we can combine those, and we'll ransom some captives. Go to this fight as well. Alright, this fight I'm going to fight manually, because we should be able to take 0 casualties in this one. I could even have benched some of my Wanderers, but we don't actually care about their health at all. Because my hotkey wasn't going. Because we're just going to combine them at some point, and that will heal them to full. So, Goblin Rabble. I want the Orc Impalers to be what we're shooting at mostly, I think. And the Orc Ravagers are shielded units, but we'll kind of sandwich them between these two Wanderer units. Then my Spearmen are going to kind of back off, and we'll have our Ronin Wanderers charge into the Rabble. We'll get a flanking charge here. And I'm backing off the Spearmen just because we don't want them engaged in melee combat for too long. Whoops, I did take a cannon shot into the back of my spear unit, so that cost me some troops there. Some slightly poor micro there. Alright, we're gonna move our cannon unit out of the area at this point, and we'll finish off the Orc Impalers with ranged fire. As soon as these guys break, we can sandwich the Goblin Rabble. And there we go. So I lost some Spearmen because I shot them in the back with a cannon, which, you know, that'll do it. I'll take the money, we'll take the potion here, and then we will again recruit a unit, and I'm going to take another archer. We'll eventually be able to combine those. Ransom captives here. I guess this gives me, it's the same, but this gives me an extra option. And we did get another fight. I'm very happy to have gotten another fight here because I really want to actually recruit some troops. And we'll go ahead and fight this. I'm going to put my, even though there's some large units here, I'm going to put my Spearmen in reserve because those I can't combine and get the money back for free. And this is a small enough group of enemies, we should be able to kill them without taking any casualties. And, or at least none that matter, because we're probably going to lose some, we're going to take some damage on our Ronin here. Start taking shots at the, oh, which I forgot the hotkey. We're going to take some damage on the Ronin here, but that's okay because their health is completely free since we're going to combine them. Move my archers up just a little bit, and then we can start shooting at the Bogmaw Trolls. The Bogmaw Trolls are quite dangerous because they are pretty heavily armored. So we are going to take some damage on our swordsmen here. You get a flanking charge there. We'll charge the armored direwolves as well. And basically I'm trying to just put damage on the Bogmaw Trolls, but as long as I only take casualties on the Ronin, we'll be totally fine. My cannon is a little bit exposed. If the enemy You know, if this was an enemy human player, they would micro their units through my melee blockers and just kill the cannon. But you don't actually have to worry about that in this game. Then we're going to stop shooting with our cannon here. Keep firing with our arrows. And our archers will finish off the armored dire wolves. And then, we took no casualties that mattered. We lost a bunch of health on the Ronin Wanderer unit here. Actually didn't even lose that many models, I don't think. The damage got spread out pretty well. And we get up to 25, and so this character is going to be getting 10 gold every turn, since we double our interest. The Rewind Potion, I don't want as much as the Fate Shine Elixir, and I think the Minor Health Potion is better, so we'll go ahead and recruit a unit here. And do I want a 4th archer? Probably, because I'm going to eventually combine some of these archers. And then we'll go ahead and pick up the money, skip the Rewind Potion. I could go to an event. I do have a guaranteed natural 20, and then we'd be attacking a Gruntkin city. I could also go to a Sakura Dynasty city and either hire or attack and conscript afterwards. I think I'm going to go take this fight because we get another unit, and then I can probably just attack the Sakura Dynasty city and get our first actually good piece. And again, we're just going to go ahead and fight here right away. Now, the Stone Gullet Enforcers are a unit I might consider breaking my monofaction buff for. Because it does fill a role that we don't currently have filled in our army, an actual anti-infantry unit.
As you wish.
So the enemy are just going to come up the middle with these dire wolves, so I want my spears in the center. We'll anchor this flank with the highest health unit. I don't like how you have to reorder on the selection screen in order to get your units not to do weird stuff where they change what order they're in. But at least it does lock when you do that. And then we'll put our archers directly behind here. If you're used to Total War, you might not consider... I think our cannon's in range. Is it firing? It's not firing. Okay, so I need to move it up just a little bit here. If you're used to Total War, you probably won't pack your units this tight, but it mostly doesn't matter in this game. Now, I want my archers locked to fighting these guys, and we'll have you up here. You're going to fight the Ravagers. And I want my spear unit to be going after some of these dire wolves, probably the armored ones, so I'll move those out to the flank. These guys are just going to absorb the dire wolf fight, dire wolf attack, and then we'll have our cannon shoot there, and our archers keep shooting the Stone Gullet Enforcers since they're the most dangerous enemies, and we're just, again, tanking damage on the Ronin. Almost got the enemy infantry down. Once we've broken them, it should be pretty easy to finish this fight. And we'll have you guys sandwich in here. Then my cannon's going to stop shooting. Actually, I can just withdraw the cannon. And then it takes no casualties, and I don't have to micro it around to stop it from shooting. The withdraw button is a button that I need to be using more often, because when you hit withdraw, it actually prevents that unit from taking any more casualties. The enemies will completely stop attacking it, which is pretty important. Especially against enemy ranged units. If you've mismicroed a unit, which I do sometimes, and gotten them heavily targeted by enemy range, then you can rescue them by withdrawing them from the battle. Alright, I'm gonna pick up another Ronin Wanderer unit, and then I think we'll just take the money here, and then we're going to go to the Sakura Dynasty city. Do I think I can win this fight easily? If I can win the fight without taking too many casualties, then it's really good to do so, because we get a shot at conscripting the Hwacha or an Arquebus, which of course we get unique bonuses for, or just one of these uncommon units, the Foot Samurai in particular would be really nice. This faction might actually just not have any shielded units also, so maybe the Buckler is bad. I think we have an artillery piece. I think we can get away with attacking this city. Now, it will auto-resolve to a defeat, so this is a tough fight. And I'll probably lose some troops, but the fact that we have an artillery piece makes it a lot easier. So there's a bombardier, there's the arquebus unit, and an archer unit. So I think I want to attack from this side. And we'll have our infantry deploy here, and our archers deploy here. Basically, I want their artillery to have to move as much as possible. Victory will be ours. And because the enemy AI just sits around when you siege the city gate, it's relatively free here. This would be a lot easier if I had a cavalry piece as well. It shall be done. Separate out my infantry just so we can get a good surround as the enemy infantry moves forwards. And one more shot, and then I want you just sort of holding. I want to move my archery units up a little bit. Definitely need to shoot the arquebus with my cannon. Because the Ronin, as you can see, are taking a lot of damage here. And then we'll have our archers shoot their archers. This guy I'm probably going to have to hit withdraw on. And the Hwacha's got in range, so I'm actually going to pull all of my infantry off to the flank. And I'm keeping an eye on this. They're absorbing some hits, and then I'll hit withdraw right before they die out completely. We will crush them. A good day to die. Victory will be ours. The Foot Samurai are going to be tough because these are an anti-infantry unit, and so they will dominate the Ronin in combat. But we should be able to shoot them with our archers. I am a little bit worried about my ammo situation here. I've almost finished breaking the arquebuses, though. And the enemy artillery is still not in range. I'm just going to withdraw this unit, actually. Enemy spearmen and Ronin, that's fine. And we're still just keeping our infantry off to the side, where the enemy artillery is going to have to move as much as possible to get in range of it. Ammunition is definitely a concern here, but my bombardiers are doing incredible work. Starting with a cannon on this character gives you a lot more options for what you can kind of do. Still not in range with these artillery units. And then this guy ran out of ammo. Let's withdraw it from the field. I'm actually going to keep my archers on the field, though. And as the enemy gets closer, we'll have to move up. But again, I want to stay on the flank so that their Hwacha doesn't get to start shooting right away. And then we're going to charge. And both artillery pieces will get a couple shots off at my massed infantry, which obviously is going to hurt a lot. But they shouldn't be able to wipe out any units, and then we'll be able to do some combination in order to get back some of these casualties. Enemy gate is definitely a danger zone as well. One thing that you can't do, which you can in Total War, is you can't really dodge, micro your units to dodge. In Total War, it's very possible to dodge with your units just by moving them back and forth, and the artillery will actually miss. That doesn't really seem to be an option in this game. But we distracted the enemy long enough for our infantry to get on top of the enemy cannons, And they did get another shot off despite being engaged in melee. That will happen sometimes, but we were able to get that win. And now we get to recruit, hopefully, a high-tier unit from the survivors, as well as getting a gear piece and everything, which is pretty nice. Obviously took a lot of casualties, but that's totally fine. We'll take the money. We will loot a piece of gear. And we got units heal to full health when entering towns peacefully. That will be very useful later on. Obviously, we attacked every town we've seen so far. And then we'll go conscript survivors, and we have a choice of a Huacha for another artillery piece, or the Blade Masters. I do want another... I want, like, an actually good infantry unit. But I think one more artillery piece is going to be more powerful, especially for the next fight. And then we're not going to deposit money, and we'll go to the boss fight here. Okay, well, they do have an artillery, 2 artillery units, and we have no good way to deal with artillery right now. And I go ahead and combine my Ronin here. I don't need to combine my archers. We could get into an artillery duel, shooting our artillery at theirs. Again, we auto-resolve to a defeat here. Or I could have my units try to flank out with some of my infantry units, but I have no outriders and I have no cavalry. So this is a pretty bad composition for us to be facing against, or a pretty dangerous composition for us to be facing against, because the enemy artillery kind of outmatches us. Not being able to conscript units or we lose the buff has definitely been a real downside, and I think maybe the way that you're supposed to play this faction is just to play it normally and conscript a bunch of units. So the range on our Huacha is 135. The Siege Claws are 125, and the Gobblebolt also 125, and our Bombard is, 115, so it's a little less than that. So an artillery duel doesn't really favor us. I also don't want to fight in the barracks area, so let's actually set up over here. And we can take out the flanking enemies right away. The 2 Dire Rider units. My Spearmen are going to move up to meet them. I'm going to send these Wanderers out here both to soak shots and... Alright, and then we'll have our artillery start shooting. Both to soak shots and to hopefully distract the enemy unit movement. My Spearmen are getting kind of blasted by the enemy artillery. Yeah, these guys on the Orc Impalers. These guys I'm going to have to withdraw before they get wiped out completely. And then my archers are going to keep taking down the enemy Dire Riders. And then we'll shoot the enemy infantry a little bit. And start taking shots at the Stone Hewer Giant. This unit I may have to withdraw as well. We're going to kite backwards with our archers. My artillery is going to keep taking shots into the middle of the enemies here. I'm definitely going to lose probably 1 archer unit. This one's used almost all of its ammo. But I need my artillery to now move, because otherwise we're going to get taken down. We'll get 1 volley off on these Orc Impalers. Alright, I didn't quite... I needed to shift queue my Ronin as well to kill both artillery pieces. But this is a much more interesting battle than we've had previously in this game, so I'm really enjoying this part. Honestly, playing with a lot fewer units is just, like, way more fun. When not everything is free. But there we go. We defeated the final battle. I lost a bunch of Ronin Wanderer units, but that's okay. Those are not going to be our long-term infantry anyways. And then I'm going to claim bounty here. I'm going to recruit a unit, and we get at least an uncommon unit. I will probably take the Foot Samurai here, because I really need another, like, an actual mainline infantry unit. And then I could conscript a unit. It would potentially cost me the bonus, but we might hit one of the rare or legendary units if I do conscript here. I think for role-playing reasons, I'm going to stick to only Sakura Dynasty units, because that's the bonus that the faction wants us to play with, so we're going to see how viable that is. It's definitely been harder to do it this way than it would be to just ignore the campaign bonus and just have... I mean, we would have like 5 more units if I'd been conscripting survivors, but it's been pretty fun to focus on doing it this way. Alright, coming into Act 2, let's go ahead and we'll go here. Now I'm going to combine 3 of my archers first so that they don't eat the prestige or random unit. Because I would, ideally I'd like to prestige one of our really injured units or one of our high tier units. So we're fairly happy with that. Now prestiging the foot samurai, not an amazing result, but it's fine. And I can always use my health potion on my wanderers or spearmen if I feel like I need them for the next battle. I don't mind fighting in the rain. We have no large units at all, and that'll give us more time to shoot things since we're a very ranged heavy composition. Which village do I want to go to? We do get full healed at villages if we go in peacefully, and I could also just attack one of the villages to get an extra unit, but I'll probably just take the full heal here since my units are quite hurt. So then it doesn't really matter. There's no Sakura Dynasty villages there. Yeah, we actually have no friendly villages that we can recruit from. So let's go ahead and take this fight in the rain here. We'll see what the enemies look like. There's the Black Eagle Halberdiers, some greatswords, Hearthbound Knights, and a cannon. So I don't think I need these 2 infantry units, so I'm not going to use my health potion yet, and we'll have these guys sit in reserve. I think we can basically just win the artillery duel, and then shoot all of these enemies pretty easily. The greatswords will do a bunch of damage to us, but long, sustained infantry brawls favor our faction, so I'm pretty happy speccing into that. Let's see. Also, they have the Hearthbound Knights, which are completely free for us, since this is a rain map. So I'm going to have my Hwacha, I think. Yeah, the Kaiser Cannon's not in range, so we're going to take one shot with the Hwacha to trigger the enemies moving forwards. And then I'm going to switch the Hwacha onto shooting the Kaiser Cannon, because I would like to take down the enemy artillery pretty quickly. Happy to shoot the greatswords, I think. And we'll have our bombardiers also shooting greatswords. My Ronin Wanderers are going to shift to the side a little bit. Basically, we're going to have our units try to pull the enemies sideways so that we can get some chasing done. And then we'll have our artillery shoot the enemy infantry. Win the fight that's actually happening, and the enemies are going to charge. They're going to chase our Ronin here. Kind of abusing the enemy AI a little bit, which is, you know, maybe a little cheesy, but obviously what you're supposed to do in this type of single-player game. Okay, get in there on the fight, though. So the Hearthbound Knights are definitely trying to get to my artillery, and for some reason my foot samurai refuse to move to attack them. They just keep dropping that movement command. Then I'm going to swap my my archery units to shoot the Hearthbound Knights while my artillery continue to shoot the enemy infantry, since both of my artillery have anti-infantry. Very efficient to have them shoot at it. And I took some damage on the Ronin Wanderer unit from the enemy artillery, but otherwise a very clean fight as well. My archer's now out of ammunition. And the anti-large halberdiers I'm not particularly worried about facing. I can even rear charge them with my archers if I want to. Try to break their morale a little quicker. Yeah, one more shot here, because I don't think that we're going to get too many friendly fire casualties. Then we're withdrawing our artillery to avoid any future friendly fire. Back the Ronin off before they take more losses, and then we'll swarm with our anti-infantry troops, with the archers just backing them up to help do a little bit of morale breaking. And that was another fun fight. Kind of a defeat in detail for the enemies, since they got pulled apart when we just microed one infantry unit around. And we got to get some good healing on our reserves here. Let's go ahead and claim a bounty, recruit a unit, and we will recruit probably another foot samurai unit. The infiltrators I have not liked very much. I find that the outriders often just get focused down by enemy ranged units, and ranged units are by far the most dangerous thing that the enemies typically have. So I honestly have not found the outriders to be too easy to use. So what I want to do is get to a shop. Is there a shop available? There are 0 shops on this map. We had a bunch of shops in Act 1 before we could use them, but now we've got shops available. Let's go to the river here. Another combat against multiple enemy cavalry units, the Royal Cavaliers, Great Swords, and the Kaiser Cannon. We at least do have our Spearmen back in play, and I'll go ahead and put my Wanderers in reserve here, and then we'll fight this battle as well. Have my 2 artillery pieces, my 2 ranged units, and all my infantry, and we'll have our spearmen along the outside and the other infantry here. And basically I'm keeping the spearmen along the outside so that they can intercept the Hearthbound Knights or Royal Cavaliers. And then we'll have the Hwacha shooting at that, and I'm going to back my foot samurai up. Oh, actually, it took a shot at the Wanderers. I'm just backing up my infantry unit so that the enemy artillery has to re-aggro at least once. And then, yeah, the bombardiers are shooting the enemy infantry. My archers are going to shoot the Royal Cavaliers here. My Hwacha kind of stopped shooting. Okay, there we go. It took out the enemy enemy units there, and then we'll saturate our spears in. I messed up a little with my spear positioning here, because they're now running quite a bit. And we're going to be tanking a lot of damage on this Ronin Wanderer unit, especially because I will keep firing my artillery into it, I think. Killing the Royal Cavaliers, and we'll keep shooting these enemies with our artillery. And at least I have my foot samurai attacking the Lenchnecks, so we've got that going for us. And my spearmen, my anti-large spearman unit is attacking the enemy cavalry. And then take some damage there, and then I'm going to withdraw my artillery. Finish off the Hearthbound Knights. And while we took some damage on a Ronin unit, that was, again, a very clean fight. Having the long-ranged artillery, the Hwacha, to take out enemy artillery is super helpful. Alright, I'm going to use my health potion here, because we're getting a new one, so let's go ahead and heal up a unit, and then we will recruit. And I will recruit, I guess, another foot samurai. Because then I have a pair. And I might be able to upgrade them after one more. Do I want... I have multiple gear that is completely useless. Multiple gear pieces that are completely useless. So I'm going to attack, I think. And I'm going to go down this question mark set, or this set of question marks, because one of them might be a shop. So here we're just going to auto-resolve this fight. Yes, I'll take a couple casualties, which I wouldn't have if I'd done it manually, because we could cheese it with artillery, but much nicer to do it this way. Save some time. All right, sells for the combined value of other gear. Now, I don't actually know if we get money from doing that, so because of the difficulty setting. Yeah, so we actually don't get anything from the cauldron. That's funny that it's a completely dead artifact on higher difficulties, because consumables and artifacts no longer sell for money on higher difficulties. And then in here, we have the Eisenman Regiment, which I definitely would love to recruit one of those. But I'm going to stick with my plan of role-playing the Sakura Dynasty and only using Sakura Dynasty units here. So the Cavaliers are there, which I'm going to be shooting with my archers. We'll have R2. And this time, they don't have... they don't have an artillery piece. So my artillery can just shoot their gunnery units right away. I want my spearmen... I think I'll just keep them centered so that they can saturate into any of the cavalry engagements. And then I want my artillery shooting at their Eisenman Regiment. And we'll have our archers saturate forward to shoot at the greatswords. Foot samurai are going to go into this greatsword fight. Switch my archers onto the Cavaliers, and we'll tank on the Ronin Wanderers. Then we've got our spearmen in the Hearthbound Knight fight. And Ronin Wanderers are just going to tank that charge as well. Meanwhile, my artillery are finishing off the enemy Eisenman Regiment, which is doing a lot of damage combined with the greatswords to my Foot Samurai unit. So I'm going to take some severe damage there, unfortunately. Actually going to have this Wanderer unit come over to assist, because the 1 Foot Samurai unit will be able to, plus the Archer fire, will be able to finish off the Royal Cavaliers. And then I think we're withdrawing this unit so that it can stop tanking. My artillery needs to shoot that last enemy there. And then I'm going to withdraw it, because we basically, I think, can only get friendly fire casualties from now on. My spearmen, obviously, this is a bronze tier, like a tier 1, a non-prestiged common unit. So the fact that it holds up just fine against a Hearthbound Knight unit is pretty useful. And I would say that was also a fairly successful combat. Let's go ahead and claim rewards. We'll get our bounty here. Now, I could gain 5 gold from the Alchemist Potion, but I think I probably care more about the Health and Fate Shine potions than I care about money at this point. We're still getting 10 gold every turn, and there's no shops on this map. Plus, I'm always ransoming captives. Alright, so here I can get a 3rd Samurai, and then we can combine to get a silver tier Samurai unit. I could get another Bombardier and then try to combine that. But I think just getting better infantry is what we're looking for. And then we'll ransom, skip the Alchemist Potion, and we'll go to this question mark. Shop. Alright, not a shop, but I'll take a treasure chest for sure. Anti-large units gain 10 weapon strength. Now, I have the 1 spearman. Prevents rain, I don't want, but let's go with melee units gain 6 weapon strength. That's very strong for us. And then we'll go here, and all right, it's a campsite. So I'm going to combine these guys and then hit prestige or random unit. And we prestiged our archers to gold tier, which is fine. Raven host, I might just take a full heal on my troops rather than fighting. I do still have the buckler shield, which is a completely dead piece of gear. But a full heal is pretty useful here, I think. And we will avoid recruiting. Still no shop. That we're going to head to this fight. Another Eisenman regiment. And Kaiser cannon and then a bunch of cavalry. Obviously, fighting 3 cavalry units in the rain is very advantageous to us. So let's go ahead and actually take this fight. I think we probably take a lot fewer casualties if we take the fight manually, even though the auto-resolve would be very favorable to us as well. One thing that I have seen is that one of the increased challenge things for the maximum difficulty is removing auto-resolve, which I think is a very bad difficulty adjustment. Not what I would recommend in terms of game design. Have my Hwacha shoot the Kaiser cannon, and my infantry are just gonna hold still, I guess. Parked just outside of range. And the reason for that is that auto-resolve is just worse in terms of outcomes than fighting the maps yourself. Okay, I guess my unit actually isn't shooting because I have blocked its line of sight with my infantry here. There we go. Now the enemy's moving forwards. I'm going to move the infantry off to the side, because maybe I can prevent the Kaiser cannon from taking that shot. Didn't work. And then I want the Ronin Wanderers tanking the Eisenman regiment. So I'm going to move them in. We'll have our spearmen kind of flank around the outside. We have our archers shooting at that. Still have my Hwacha killing the enemy. There. Get the Wanderers in on top of the Eisenman regiment. Our spears are going to go after that cavalry unit. And then we'll try to run the cavalry in circles a little bit. Taking some damage on the Wanderers here. Gonna have them flank out the enemy cavalry. Did a little bit of friendly firing there. And my foot samurai are gonna move around this way. We'll try to keep the Hearthbound Knights moving. Basically, I'm doing that so that we have a non-friendly fire inflicting target for our artillery to shoot at. The Hearthbound Knights will eventually catch my units, I think. They have 30 speed to 27. Although it does seem to disrupt their movement a lot, the fact that they're constantly getting shot by artillery. But basically, again, we just want to take a clean fight here. Losing a few troops on our infantry, or a few models on our infantry units. Totally fine. Not sure why the commoner unit wasn't following the knights to shoot at them. And then, basically, our ranged units can just finish this fight off. Here, we will get to recruit another unit, and we got... Okay, do I want a spear unit? Do I want another cannon? I think I want a spear unit. We do need a little bit more in the way of anti-large. And then we're going to go here. And this is another fight against 3 Eisenman regiments. So we're definitely going to take casualties in this fight. I think I'm just going to auto-resolve it, though. Oh, wow, that hurt a lot more than I was expecting. I mean, the 3 Eisenman regiments are always going to be pretty awful, but we can use our health potion here. So I'm going to drink the health potion, heal up my silver tier foot samurai unit, and then these other guys can go sit in reserve a little bit. Actually, we have a town, so I could get a full heal off the town. Anyways, we'll claim bounty, we'll use our alchemist potion for some more money, we'll recruit another unit, and we got another Naginata Onna, and then... Do I want to take another fight, or do I want to heal to full? I think I want to heal to full. We get the full heal here, and then we leave, and then we're going to this act's boss fight. Triple Royal Cavaliers, double Hearthbound Knights, the Deepwood Rangers, which are an Outrider unit, so important to pay attention to those. What am I bringing in? I do want, I guess we'll cut the Ronin Wanderer unit here. And, because I want all my spears against all of these large enemies. And we can go ahead and fight. We have $240 and have not had an opportunity to spend it at all. This has been such a funny run. I feel like a lot has gone wrong. Now, partly this is as downstream of my decision to just buy Sakura Dynasty troops. And so we just had a lot fewer troops throughout the mid-game. Alright, so what I want is I want one of my... I guess the Wanderer unit is going to sit at the back. And this is an awkward scenario where the Goblin Barracks is kind of in the way. So it's making it so that we have to fight in where the enemies have buffs. Then Naginata and Spearman, that's fine. I'm going to put a foot samurai unit at, or no, I want my Ronin at the back here where they can pounce on the enemy infiltrators. And I'll actually make them group 3. And then we'll start battle. I don't see where, okay, there's where the enemy infiltrators are. Now, the Deepwood Rangers, their range is absurd. So that's a challenge for us, for sure. We'll see if my Ronin just die to them. If they do, I'll switch my artillery to shoot at them. Because I think that this Ronin unit, since we don't have any shielded troops, I think that this Ronin unit might kind of suffer here. And we'll saturate our spears in. We'll saturate our Naginatas in. Okay, well, if the enemy cavalry come over, then we're definitely... these Ronin are not going to win this fight. So I'll get ready to withdraw them. I'm keeping an eye on the front fight. But that one's going well for us. I'm going to withdraw here. And then we will have our... Nope. I don't want to move my troops like that. I'll have my spearmen come out this way. And my artillery are shooting the enemy. I need to move the artillery pieces so that they don't get disrupted. And I need my spear troops to get on the enemy cavalry. Gonna take a lot of damage on from this Deepwood Ranger unit. Definitely a problem that we're gonna have. But at least my spear unit is... Or my spear units have kind of saturated in. I did take this fight with a spear unit against a buffed enemy. So definitely not an ideal engagement for me there. And then can we get our artillery shooting at those guys? We can. Foot samurai here. That archer that's out of ammo, I'm just going to withdraw. All right, enemy archers are now out of ammo as well. And then this spearman unit, I'm going to withdraw as well. It is definitely really fun having to think about trying to maintain every model so much because we're playing such a restricted resource scenario. I'm glad now that I bought those 2 common units, because it's let me actually rotate units into reserve and stuff. Alright, we'll take the bounty, we'll grab the health potion, and we'll recruit a unit, and... Okay, and we finally got an arquebus unit. I do want the Hwacha, I would love the Hokoshu as well, but we desperately need more ranged, and this character gives buffs to the arquebus unit. With the longbows and the buff from the character, it has the same range as our cannon. 120, no, longer range than our cannon, 125. So we're going to get really good value from the arquebus, and they get even more range as you level them up, as you prestige them. So now that we've got one of those, I'm feeling like we're in great shape. And jumping in for Act 3, let's go ahead and we'll prestige a random unit here, because this could also, again, be a heal. Let's see what we hit. We hit... our Ronin Wanderer is not exactly what I wanted to hit, hitting the tier 1 unit here. So, a little unlucky there, but at least we... Or the common unit, but, you know, at least we got a prestige. I can take any of these fights. I do want to go to this shop. I could also go to this shop. Those are our 2 options. So, I want to hit the closest shop. So, let's just go here. With 260 gold, I feel like we definitely want to get to a shop as quickly as we can. And then let's go ahead and put 3 units in reserve. I think we'll be fine to have 3 units in reserve here. And we'll keep our archers. Or do I want to try to heal the archers? I think we'll keep the archers in, because we're going to a town, and we have the artifact that gives us a full heal when we go to a town, so I can just do that. And then we'll go ahead and fight this battle. Now, I need to be aware of the Veil Piercers, which are also an Outrider Archer unit, which we had a little bit of trouble with in the last fight. Having 0 cavalry, and we're really on the pike and shot plan here. What do I want at the back? I guess I'll put the Ronin Wanderers at the back to potentially soak shots from the Veil Piercers, and then we'll do it like so. And in this case, all of my artillery and all of my archers are going to shoot at the Veil Piercer unit here. I've got my Naginata Ana here, who are going to... We're going to get those in on the Star Striders, if possible. Alright, we took those guys out, and I'll have my range units shoot there. These guys are going to move in here. These guys are going to kind of back off, and we'll spread out this unit to try to intercept that Ashwood Militia. Have these guys go here. Need to back my archers off a little bit. And then I want you going there. And we'll have you shoot, not the militia, I guess the Alarian Sentinels with my ranged troops. Artillery shooting enemy infantry here. Have our Naginata troops on the Star Striders. We are going to take some friendly fire casualties on the Foot Samurai. Actually, I could probably just withdraw, and we'll have my Foot Samurai kind of back off. Just withdrawing the artillery to minimize casualties on our infantry pieces there. And then we'll kite around with our infantry, while our archers and gunners shoot the enemy infantry. Our Naginata unit did not do that well against the enemy cavalry, to be honest. I mean, we did fine, but I usually expect those fights to be much more one-sided, but you always take quite a lot of casualties on your spear units fighting cavalry. Claim the rewards here, and then we'll go ahead and recruit a unit. And we've got, I think, just a third Naginata, and that can be a combination. Then we'll go to the shop.
Let's talk about gold.
And I do want the signature unit. I also want a rare unit, I think. So let's go ahead and buy the signature unit because we want to try out these Oni. So the Oni are large. They are anti-infantry, armored, terrifying, and armor-piercing. So they're a really good hammer piece for just breaking enemy formations. That said, they have really bad melee attack and melee defense and really low speed for a legendary unit. I'm going to go ahead and just combine these, and we'll take the Oni here, and then I'm going to take I think instead of a second Oni, I'm going to go with another rare unit, because what I really want is another Arquebus. Dragon Tachi also very tempting, because we have no cavalry at all, and having a cavalry unit would give us a lot more sort of tactical options. What I'm kind of liking are just pure stand and shoot strategy. So I'm going to take the Arquebus here. Also, this character gets buffs to the Arquebus. Do I want to buy another rare unit? I guess we're not spending our money otherwise on anything else, so I will. And then I think I probably should take a cavalry unit instead of the third Arquebus, because I kind of want to have multiples of these anyways. So let's get rid of the Ashigaru Spearman. We don't need... We've got the one Naginata unit, which is fine. So we're going to do that, and we'll take the Dragon Tachi there. And then on to the Deepstone Hold Village. We'll just enter peacefully and leave. And then we're going to the campsite, and we're going to prestige a random unit. I mean, maybe it hits my legendary unit, maybe it hits cavalry, maybe it hits the Arquebus. It hit the Foot Samurai, which is not what we were hoping for, but it's okay. Then I don't need another shop with only 29 gold, so let's go to the question mark.
Let's talk about gold.
Alright, well, we got another shop. Do I want to recruit a common unit? I can't prestige anything, because we only have one bronze tier Daikyu, one bronze tier archer. We have one bronze tier... No, I actually got rid of my spearmen. And then we have the Ronin Wanderers, which are both silver, but I would need to upgrade those in order to upgrade, so I don't think there's any reason to do this. I could buy the gear, and I think I will buy a gear pack. One thing I really want, because I'm forgetting if I have a treasure chest coming up, one thing I want in screens like this is the ability to look at the map again. So there should be a button here that shows you the map. But I actually am going to buy the gear chest. Okay, ranged units gain anti-large, because the buckler shield is completely useless right now. And the turkey is an incredible find. And yeah, there was no treasure chest anyways, but ranged units having anti-large and bonus range, of course, is going to be ridiculously strong against any enemy that has large units, like these treants. Another Veil Piercer, so I have to be aware of those existing. I don't really need the spear unit, so I'll bring this in. I don't really need the cavalry, because there's no enemy artillery. So I think we'll go with this setup. I still have a health potion as well, if I need it. Now, admittedly, it was because of self-imposed restrictions, but I've really enjoyed this run because it's honestly been a lot more fun. I'm going to have my... Oh, these guys only have 25 speed, but I'm still going to have them at the back, I think, because we're going to have those guys take on the flankers, and then I'm going to also have my archers kind of at the back here, and we'll otherwise try to hold the enemy at the river crossing. Where... Oh, there it is. Okay. I might actually not have to move the Oni to attack. Whoops. I moved my my troops there, which is not what I meant to do. Alright, my artillery can start shooting at the enemies here, and then my ranged units can take on the treants. My Oni will get the Veil Piercers. Actually, I'm going to have this Arquebus unit turn around, and we'll have our Oni get in there. Meanwhile, my other ranged units are, because they're anti-large, are just taking out everything so easily. And then we'll have my archers swap onto here. We'll have the Oni get in on the side against the Erindel Guard. The foot samurai are kind of holding. Shoot the Sunspire Blade Lords with my artillery. These Ashwood Militia are not anti-large or anything, so actually I'm going to swap my Oni into this fight and back off the Ronin Wanderers, because I think that will give me more a more favorable matchup, and we won't take more casualties on the Wanderers. And then I did cannon my foot samurai in the face a little bit there. And withdrawing my artillery at the last second just to stop one more volley from going out and obliterating one of my own troops. Alright, and then we get to do some recruiting. Let's see what we got here. Got a Naginata unit if I want that. So I could get rid of my... no, I already got rid of the spear unit. I could get a bombardier and try to silver the bombardiers. I don't really need the common tier commoner unit. The double arquebus is plenty of ranged damage. So let's go ahead and get rid of the Daikyu commoners, and we'll take the bombardiers, and then if I get one more, I can silver them. Then we'll go ahead and take the money here, and we'll go to the castle. I don't need money or gear, so we're just going to take the full heal. And then we'll go do this event. I do have a Fate Shine Elixir, so we finally get to use the Fate Shine Elixir in an event. And so we'll drink that, and we'll do demand payment up front. I guess, because it's the one that requires the highest success. And with the natural 20... Oh, nice. We got a prestiged unit, and we get to recruit an infiltrator if I want it. I've been really unimpressed with the infiltrators, though, so I think I'm going to pass on those guys. And I really like my current unit structure. If it was a bombardier, I would definitely have taken it. I just want to take the fight here, because I can get a bombardier, I can get another purple tier unit, just something like that. Double enemy artillery, this is when I'm going to bring in the Dragon Tachi, and we'll bring it in over the bombardiers, because I don't really need 3 artillery pieces. And anything else we want here. There's no large units, so I don't need spears, but I don't have those in. The enemy have a decent amount of anti-large. They have, what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4 anti-large troops. So maybe I'm supposed to not bring in the Oni, but I do want to use my legendary unit. So let's go ahead and take this fight. Because these guys have 25 speed, it's kind of hard to get them favorable matchups. Though, that being said, we can kind of camp in the forest here. I'm going to have my Dragon Tachi on the side, and we'll go after the Star Hurlers. We've also got our own artillery. Now, I do outrange the Star Hurler with the Hwacha. I also have this Arquebus unit with Chaz 135 range, so actually if I scooch it forward just a little bit, we can get range on the enemy artillery. Like, we can outrange it. I don't really want the artillery shooting my Arquebus in retaliation, though. I'd rather they shoot my infantry. So we're going to do it this way. And then we'll have the Hwacha shoot the Star Hurler. If the artillery moves up, then I'll have it taking those shots. But for now, I'm going to let the Star Hurlers do their thing. I don't want them shooting at my Oni here. These are all anti-large troops. So we're going to have our Ronin Wanderers attack the Alarian Sentinels. And then actually, we've done fairly well here. We'll swap our We've gotten on top of the enemy artillery with our cavalry. And then we can saturate the Oni into this fight. Foot Samurai are fighting Ashwood Militia. That's a favorable fight. And actually, we're going to just unsummon our artillery, because I think that's going to be the source of most of our casualties for the rest of this combat. We're going to have our archers shoot at the enemy that isn't in forest. Oh, wow. The Ronin Wanderers there got kind of flattened, actually. And I actually pull all of these troops back, because I don't want the Oni fighting the Ilarian Sentinels, and I don't really want the enemy in the forest at all. So we'll just kite them backwards and shoot them with ranged units. And we should break their morale there anyways. That was a bit of a sloppy fight. I took more damage than I should have, but obviously it worked out fine. And now that I have a cavalry piece, dealing with enemy artillery is much more trivial. Go ahead and recruit a unit. So I'm looking for a bombard so that we can upgrade to a silver tier bombard, which also gives us more range on it. Goes from 115 to 125, which is pretty nice. And then we'll take the money here. And then, unfortunately, I really wish this was a Sakura Dynasty city. We've seen 0 friendly cities, I think, as well. But let's go to the Raven Host city. We'll enter town. And I could recruit a unit, but instead we're going to stick with our plan of only Sakura Dynasty units all the way through. And we'll go ahead and deposit all of our money for the meta progression. And then take the final combat here. So here we have Emerald Ancient, Treant, Star Striders. Those should all be free because we have the turkey. This artifact remains broken just completely. I do want my cavalry in the Naginata unit. I wouldn't mind having that in, so I'm going to put that in over the Ronin here, because killing the enemy infantry is not going to be a big deal with our 2 anti-infantry artillery pieces. And the Naginatas can potentially get on enemy large troops if my archers can't take them out in time. So I think this is going to be a slightly better setup. It's also, I mean, this is an uncommon unit. This is a common unit, so might as well have our higher tier troops in. And I don't need to use my health potion because everything is at full health because we just went to a city. So let's see if we can get the win here. I will say this is a much faster run than I've been doing, regardless of if we win or lose. Because I skipped I auto-resolved a couple combats. Let's set up on the flank here.
At the ready. I'm on it. Awaiting directive.
Want to stack those units. We'll have our artillery here, and then we've got our cavalry along the outside, and our archers over here.
Let's do this. Yes, at your service.
I needed to reorder my troops, I guess. Wait, I don't want to move my units into Star Hurler range. I think I will actually just have my artillery shoot their artillery. And then I'm going to pull this cavalry back and kind of up and under. Alright, my cannoneer is doing a bad job of shooting the enemy artillery. And let's have our archery units focus on the enemy large units, since our archers have anti-large, and then we'll have our cavalry sneak in the side here. Oh wow, they had a cavalry unit there. I actually didn't see that one at all, but we've outmaneuvered them regardless. And then we'll have these guys shoot at the enemy anti-large troops, since those are on top of our Oni. Saturate in like so. And then we'll force path away from the dragon so we can get on top of the enemy artillery. Again, kind of a sloppy fight. I took a little more damage than I needed to there.
Victory will be ours.
Having my artillery shoot here, and we'll move our archers up.
The ready.
Look at the range on these things. It's just ridiculous on the arquebus unit. And then our dragon Tachi are going to back away here,
None shall survive.
while my artillery put some damage on the Sunspire Blade Lords,
As you wish.
and my anti-large archery troops finish off the enemies here.
Let's do nothing I can't.
Let's have our Oni go get in combat.
It shall
Look at the dragon just vanish. One volley from the arquebus. It just took like 9/10 of its health.
surrender. No problem.
I don't think our Oni are going to get into combat here, but there we go. So that was really fun, of course. I really enjoyed actually having fewer troops at the beginning. Obviously, this is still only difficulty 7, and it could get a little more difficult. But one thing that I would like to see in this game, I think, is just a general difficulty increase, because getting a glimpse of a harder version of this game at the beginning of this campaign, I found really fun. Whether that's a difficulty increase, across the board, or only at higher prestige levels, higher difficulty levels. Probably you would want to make it an optional difficulty increase, because I'm sure that there are a lot of players who are like new to the genre playing this game, and you want the game to be accessible to those players as well. But since I played a lot of roguelikes and a lot of RTSs, I have found that this game is on the whole on the easy side. So getting a glimpse of a game where I had to try a little harder at the beginning was really fun. I also really enjoyed the restriction of only Sakura Dynasty troops. It meant that we ended up with a really interesting unit composition throughout the game, where we were basically just using archers and like low tier archers and infantry instead of having high tier units from other factions, which has been kind of the normal way that my runs have gone in this game. So that was fun as well, trying to beat the really tough enemy units with my own relatively weak units. And then in the late game, we just got to live the power fantasy of the arquebus unit, just obliterating everything. So that was great as well. All right, my friends, hope that you've enjoyed this run with the Sakura Dynasty. And of course, if you have, then feel free to leave a comment and hit like. It helps me out with the algorithm, so I appreciate you taking the time to do that. And of course, you can subscribe to my channel for more Tabletop Tavern, as long as people keep enjoying watching it. I keep enjoying playing it. I'll keep doing so, and other strategy game analysis. Cheers, friends. I'll catch you next time.